What price are you paying for your success? My name is Eva Medilek, and I am here to talk to you about how you can have success without sacrifice. You see, when I was in college, there was a popular perfume commercial which depicted the ultimate successful woman. I'm going to show you that commercial right now.
I can put the wash on the line, feed the kids, get dressed, pass out the kisses, and get to work by 5 and 9. 'Cause I'm a woman, Anjali.
Give her Anjali, the 8-hour perfume for the 24-hour woman.
I can bring home the bacon, Anjali. Fry it up in a pan, Anjali. And never, never, never let you forget you're a man. 'Cause I'm a woman.
Anjali, the 8-hour perfume for your 24-hour woman.
Well, that was fun. Now, I know I'm dating myself, but commercials like that have us believing that we can have it all. And get this, and we can have work-life balance while trying to achieve it all. You see, ideas like that have set us up to think that in order to have it all, we have to be it all and do it all too. And if you believe the commercial, at least you can smell good while you work yourself to death. But let me ask you this. What is doing it all actually costing you? I know some of you are going through life right now feeling stressed out, burnt out, overwhelmed, exhausted, and it's affecting your mood, your health, your interactions with other people, because you're always busy. You're doing a lot, and it's exhausting. In fact, you are doing so much to keep up with the demands of your work life and your personal life that it's taking its toll on both. So if you're experiencing stress, burnout, overwhelm, and frustration trying to achieve the elusive work-life balance, if procrastinations and distractions are creating a loss of focus and productivity because you're trying to do it all, then you are sacrificing your health, your well-being, and your relationships in order to be successful and have it all. You don't have to sacrifice all of that, but you will have to be willing to sacrifice some things. The problem is you're sacrificing the wrong things and it's hurting you in the long run. So if you want to stay focused and effective with your time and effort, and if you want the mental, emotional, and physical energy that you're going to need to stay productive and not waste time, and if you want to learn how to set boundaries, establish priorities, and remove those distractions so that you can experience more success, more joy, better health, and happier relationships, then this is for you. And I want to share a little bit about my personal story. It was almost 12 years ago that my boss called me into her office and told me that I was being downsized and my salary cut. Now, this was a week before my 50th birthday. And that feeling of fear and shock and like total disbelief came over me. So much so, my body started to shake because I was wondering, number one, how I was going to pay for this big old birthday trip I had just booked. And how was I going to find a job at the age of 50? And I remember literally begging her to keep me on just for another 2 months until I can figure things out and get better prepared. But she was cold and unwavering in her decision to downsize me. And so I'm thinking, how am I going to tell my family? It was time for me to figure this out. So I decided to go on interviews for jobs, and it was humiliating. But I finally landed a part-time position to supplement what I already had. But that experience had me realize that I wanted and deserve more. I had spent nearly 30 years working to make other people rich, and I wasn't happy about that. And after she laid me off, you know what she did? She purchased a brand new convertible Lexus and took her entire family on this expensive vacation after telling me she couldn't afford me. And that's when I made the decision to become an entrepreneur. So, working my day job, I was simultaneously building my real estate investment company. But I was also, get this, I was also doing all of the shopping, the cooking, the laundry, the bookkeeping. I was working hard to have it all. I was doing it all. I was Superwoman. I was that woman in the commercial, actually. But I was also burnt out, stressed out, and overwhelmed and exhausted all the time. I didn't look all happy and put together like her. And I certainly wasn't walking around being in that ball gown. I was a hot mess. My health was affected. I had severe back and neck pain. My well-being, oh my God, I was always in a bad mood because I was always tired and complaining about being tired. And then my relationship with my husband was affected. We became short and snippy with each other. And I literally was so frustrated with him that I had to do everything. But if I'm being honest, the reality was that I didn't trust anyone to help me. I thought that I was supposed to do it all. But like most busy folks, I thought we had time. My thought was as soon as the business gets to a certain level, starts making a certain amount of money, then we would have time to work on our relationship, that we would be fine eventually. How many of you have ever thought that you would prioritize either your health or your well-being, your mental, emotional energy, or your relationships after X happened or Y happened or Z happened, right? Because I know I'm not alone. Well, eventually, for me, came in the form of discovering that my husband was falling in love with another woman. I found out when I was looking on his phone for something, and it felt like a total punch in the gut. I was so afraid that I was going to lose everything I was working so hard for. I was working for us to have the life that we wanted together. But I also realized in that moment that I had to own the responsibility for what was happening in my marriage. And then we had to decide if we were going to break up or break through this devastating breakdown. I knew that if I wanted things to change for the better, that I had to change. We had to change. And I decided to start living a high performance life. And eventually I became certified as a high performance coach. Now, high performance and high performance habits literally resonated with me because I realized that my current habit of working myself to death was contributing to my stress and the breakdown in my relationship and the breakdown in my health and my bad mood. I did not know how to achieve success in one area of my life without sacrificing success in another area of my life. I was paying a huge price to be successful financially, like most high achievers do, right? Listen, I know you want to have it all and be living your best life for yourself and your loved ones. We all do. So you're working super hard to have all of those things. But here's the funny part. As you're working hard, super hard to have all of those things, you're becoming stressed out, burned out, overwhelmed, and you end up sacrificing the very things you're working so hard to have and the very people you're working so hard for. So how can you achieve success, advance your career without it costing you your health, your well-being, and your relationships? Well, first of all, it's not about doing more to have more. But it's also not about just doing less for the sake of doing less. What it boils down to is determining what the right things are to sacrifice in order to be successful in every area of your life. The sacrifices and choices that you make when chasing your goals. I know it's not easy, but it's up to you to determine how much you're willing to give up so that you don't lose what's important to you in the process. Most of you that are high achieving, driven, busy professionals are amazing at being the best in what you do. But in that process of becoming the best at what you do, you often sacrifice in some other important areas of your life, like your health and fitness, your relationships, your happiness. Everyone is trying to find balance in all of those things. We all want that work-life balance, don't we? But balance is not equal. When you look at a scale that's perfectly balanced, equal on both sides, what's the number on the scale? Well, it's 0. 0. That's what happens when you try to achieve perfect balance between your work life and your personal life. You actually zero out your results. You see, the more you pretend that you can handle everything and do it all, the less chance you have at having anything at all. You don't find balance, you create balance. You see, you get to decide what side of the scale to adjust by adding or subtracting as you see fit, because you're in control of the balance. Now, balance is personal and it looks different for everyone, but you create it for yourself by taking a good hard look at what you really want and what it's going to take to have that in your life. Why do you think it's so hard to make yourself do the things that you know will improve your life, your career, your health, and your relationships? Well, it's because you're trying to do everything others want you to do and still have balance. Listen, you can't create balance by trying to make everyone happy. Because in addition to the pressure of those outside voices, your internal voice keeps telling you, you need more time with your family. You need to work out. You need to take a vacation. And then you're looking at this long to-do list that still needs to get done. You know, I once read a bumper sticker that said, God put me on earth to accomplish a certain number of things, and right now I am so far behind that I will never die. Who can relate to that, right? How many of you can relate to that? Well, no wonder you're feeling overwhelmed. You're trying to put energy into everything, and you feel like you're failing because you can't do it all successfully. So then you become distracted, right? Or you're angry, or you're frustrated, or you start to take it out on those around you, and then your relationships start to suffer. In trying to have time for everything, you end up actually having time for nothing. Most of you are struggling due to lack of clarity and consistency, and it shows up everywhere in your life. Now, as a high performance coach, I help my clients focus, number one, and then find the clarity and habits needed to succeed consistently while maintaining a happy, healthy life and happy, healthy relationships. See, the secret to being a high performer is consistency. Because high achieving is not high performing. The distinction is on clarity on what habits create consistent results that are based on your values and your priorities, because we can all be high performers. You deserve to have your goals and dreams and be successful in every area of your life. You deserve to be happy and healthy. You deserve great relationships. But to have all of that, something will have to give. Your success depends on your ability to prioritize without guilt or regret. Success requires selfishness. Now, how many of you have seen a NASCAR race or the Indy 500 or some kind of car race, right? Most of us have. In a NASCAR race, those drivers are racing at dangerously high speeds, trying to win the race without crashing and burning. And the funny thing is, every time the lead car stops for a pit stop, I always find myself yelling, "Don't stop now, you're going to fall behind and lose the race." But those drivers know that taking a pit stop is necessary for them to continue to race at peak performance without breaking down. Now, most of you are racing nonstop, trying to do everything you can to get ahead because you're afraid of falling behind and losing if you do. And because you don't stop, your health and your relationships are in breakdown. This is exactly what happened to me. I was running my life and my business at high speed, and I was going nonstop trying to do it all. I never stopped for a pit stop. If you were to incorporate pit stops or high performance habits into your life, imagine how far you could advance your career without sacrificing your personal life, your health, your relationships, any of that along the way, without crashing and burning. So how can you balance it all and have success without sacrifice? Well, the first thing you've got to do is start getting rid of everything that's dragging you down, everything you're doing to meet other people's expectations and demands. You got to stop doing it all to have it all, because those cars racing around the track, they don't have suitcases in the trunk. If you think about climbing the mountain, is it easier to climb to the top with your entire life's belongings on your back, or just the essentials needed for the climb? You see, when you let some of the things that are dragging you down go, you're going to have more time and energy for the important things in your life, like your family, your health, your relationships, and most importantly, yourself. Let me just share my screen again. We're going to jumpstart your high performance with a little CPR. And we're going to start with clarity. Be clear on what you want and what makes you happy. Where are you unhappy in your life or business? And do you feel clear about who you are and what's important? Are you living in alignment to that? Listen, does the vision that you have for your life match your reality today? And these are important questions to ask yourself when you're seeking clarity. And then you've got priorities. Establish clear priorities, because studies show that when you don't have clear priorities, you are actually up to 30 times more likely to miss out on success. How you spend your time, money, and energy is a direct reflection of your values. And when you base your decision-making on your values and your priorities, you're willing to sacrifice what doesn't move forward or support your priorities. And then finally, you've got to own the responsibility of setting and creating boundaries. You make poor choices by saying yes to everything to please everyone around you, and you end up overcommitted because of it. You know what I'm talking about. Part of the structure and process is creating clear boundaries, because without boundaries, we don't know safety. Your job is to support the structure, set it, communicate it. Got to tell people what it is now, and don't run from it, because this will help you create the balance that you need for your priorities, your goals, your values. This will give you the power to stop spending time you don't have on things that you don't really want to do. Once you figure this out and are clear on what you really want, that's when you'll create your balance. Your performance and your success come down to the ability to be clear, prioritize, and take responsibility for creating and setting boundaries that support your goals and your values. And I've just showed you how trying to be it all and do it all is preventing you from having it all. It can cost you your health, your well-being, your relationships, your success, and ultimately your happiness. Now I want to show you 5 ways that you can reduce and reverse the burnout that you may be experiencing. The first way is you got to be selfish, guys. Until you can prioritize your health, your well-being, and energy, you can't perform your best. Self-care is not separate from productive action. Number 2, stop trying to do everything. You don't have to do it all or be it all to have it all. Number 3, stop trying to find balance. You don't find it, you create it. Number 4, my favorite, you got to master the art of saying no. It's actually the hardest because every time you say yes when you really want to say no, you take yourself further away from your goal of success. And number 5, incorporate daily habits that generate energy. You don't want your loved ones getting what's left over of you at the end of the day. When you practice consistent habits that generate energy for your life and business, your loved ones get what's best of you at the end of the day, not what's left of you at the end of the day. Living a high performance life is the key to having success without sacrifice. But keep in mind, you're all unique with your own unique set of circumstances, but that you're a product of your decisions, not of your circumstances. So what are the next steps for you to have more time, more success, better health, and happier relationships? What are the performance pit stops that will generate the results you desire in your life and business? How can you become clear on what you need to focus on so that you have the energy, courage, and discipline needed to advance your career? And what boundaries are you going to need to set that support your growth and success? So if you've been inspired to stop burning yourself out by trying to do it all, I want you to download my free PDF, Energy Generating Habits to Stay Focused and Productive. And you can download it at evamedilek.com/energy. The fun thing to do now is to take a picture of the QR code and you can download it right away, have it in your inbox by the time I finish talking here. Because if you're ready to get clear on what your priorities are and learn what high performance habits to incorporate into your life so that you can create your own unique balance and have success without sacrifice, let's take the next step together. Here's what I want you to do. Go to talkwitheva.com or take a picture of the QR code again, because I want you to schedule a session with me today so that you can create a strategy to focus on what matters most to you. And if you have any questions, I'm happy to answer them on the call as well. Well, that's it. I don't know how my hand got up there in this in Zoom. Zoom does some crazy things, but my name is Eva Medilek, high performance coach. And thank you. Thank you for listening to this session today, Success Without Sacrifice. And I look forward to seeing you all on my schedule. Thank you so much.